Good, happy Wednesday morning, June 3rd, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Wednesday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's begin. First up, candlelight vigil in memory of George Floyd held Tuesday night last night in Manchester. Organizers say event will mourn lives lost to racial injustice. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
In this life, there are only so many things you can count on. The sun rising every day is...
Through song and prayer, hundreds of people, young and old, from all different backgrounds, stood together as one to remember George Floyd.
He had a girlfriend and 2 daughters and a grandchild he never got to meet.
The candlelight vigil was put on by Black Lives Matter Manchester. They say tonight is also about mourning the lives lost to racial injustice nationwide.
A service to, honor the people who have died at the hands of police brutality and to draw light on racial injustice.
Show solidarity for the Black community and do what I can to at least let their voices be heard.
It's one of a series of events to take place in the Granite State in recent days, joining marches and vigils across the country.
Police brutality is absolutely abhorrent and never okay. Black Lives Matter and need to be supported in this country, and a change needs to happen.
Those here tonight say that change can happen when people of all races begin to stand together as one equal community.
If this many people are all coming together under one cause, then maybe we need to do something about it for once.
I think it's kind of beautiful that people who didn't understand are starting to get it, but I think that the things that had to happen in order for that to happen shouldn't have had to happen.
And now after tonight's event, the organizers told the crowd to go straight home. Manchester police have not reported any incidents connected to this vigil. Reporting live in Manchester, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Tim, thank you. Well, tonight there is a visible law enforcement presence in Manchester. We found state police on patrol in what appears to be riot gear on Elm Street downtown, along with Manchester police in case there were any problems.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Manchester police. At least 10 arrested after a crowd gathers on South Willow Street. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
As the PGA Tour gets back into the swing of things, at ServPro, we're helping...
We do continue to follow breaking news and video just in from South Willow Street near Weston Road. Manchester police say people have been shooting fireworks into the air and into traffic and are now throwing items at police vehicles. A spokeswoman says the Bearcat has been deployed to the area. Of course, we are going to continue to monitor this situation all night long. We'll bring you the latest updates on our website and mobile app.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. $11 more deaths, 65 new cases confirmed of COVID-19, officials say. Victims were people age 60 or older. 11 more Granite Staters have died of COVID-19, health officials said Wednesday. All were people who were age 60 or older, health officials said. 10 were residents of Hillsborough County and the other was a resident of Rockingham County. Officials said 256 people in New Hampshire have died of COVID-19. There were 65 new cases of COVID-19 diagnosed in the state. There have now been 4,749 cases in New Hampshire and 1,422 current cases. Health officials said 6 more people have been hospitalized with COVID-19. There have been 462 people hospitalized in New Hampshire throughout the course of the pandemic, and 97 people are currently hospitalized. More than 3,000 people have recovered from COVID-19 in the state. COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know information. Let's take a look at that right now. And here's a look at that information for all of you right now. There are 4,749 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 1,859,323 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 256 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 462, sorry about that, number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 106,925 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. And here's a look at this map of New Hampshire where current cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester, 436. And here's a look at this map of New Hampshire where total cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester, 1219. Let's take a look at these 3 charts here. Let's start with the first chart. New cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations, and in the red are the deaths. Now let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases in the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalizations. Now let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases in the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, total hospitalizations. In the red, deaths, and in the blue, recovered. And now let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases. Female and male of cases. And risk information. And now let's take a look at this chart here. Race/ethnicity of cases. Hospitalizations, deaths, and percent of New Hampshire population. And your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Stock features rise as Wall Street optimism grows over reopening of the economy. U.S. stock features rose in early trading on Wednesday as markets continue to rally on optimism over economics emerges from coronavirus-led shutdowns. New York City under curfew for the first time since World War II. Let's take a listen to that video from CBS News.
Well, tonight, new curfew orders are in effect in the nation's largest city. More than 700 people were arrested in New York City Monday night during an outbreak of widespread looting. Macy's world-famous flagship store was among dozens that were overrun. prompting criticism today from New York's governor. CBS's Jerika Duncan was on the street when the chaos erupted, and tonight she's in Times Square. Jerika?
Yeah, good evening, Nora. You can see there's hundreds of protesters behind me right now. But when you think about the history of that curfew, the last time there was a curfew enacted like that was back in 1943 during the race riots in Harlem, New York. Police say they are prepared for the protest tonight. And protesters I spoke to say they will not stop until their voices are heard.
In the heart of Manhattan, we watched as dozens gathered, breaking windows, and then explosions dispersed that crowd. But elsewhere, looters seem to have free reign. No law enforcement in sight.
This is crazy. Where are the cops?
Scenes like that throughout the city yesterday left New York's governor fuming.
It was a disgrace. Use the police. You have 38,000 NYPD.
The president is calling on the National Guard to intervene. New York City's mayor says no way.
Someone needs a history lesson. When outside armed forces go into communities, no good comes of it.
Today, we asked those protesting peacefully through the streets of New York if they feel safe.
Are they going to protect us? Are they going to push the people? Are they going to hit us with rubber bullets? Like, what are we going to expect, you know?
I think they just see me as my race. I think they see me as a threat.
Different cities are taking different approaches. In Philadelphia, police are using aggressive tactics to break up some protests, while just across the river in Camden, New Jersey, a more subtle approach.
You have to meet with people in the absence of crisis.
Camden County Police Captain Zakeem James marching highly visible.
People have a right to be angry and be angry at the police. We haven't always stood up to our mottos to protect and serve. This is a tense moment in our country right now.
Directly behind me, you can see there are a group of doctors and nurses here. I spoke to one of them. She says after being on the front lines of COVID-19, she's here today because she said racism is a public health crisis. Nora?
And a public health threat, no doubt. Jerika, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for watching this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.